I am a toxically happy person, and I'm on my way to recovery. Will you join me as we talk about what it looks like to be a toxically happy person? I'll share some embarrassing stories, and we'll talk about how we can get out of this struggle of being toxically happy and how we can be, yet again, a normal human with a happy life that still can experience pain and sadness. Have you ever noticed you respond to things in a happy, optimistic way? And sometimes there are things that you should not even respond happily to. There are things that you should be sad about, that you should be grieving, and you automatically respond happily. Is your life out of balance? Now, I know normally we talk about having a positive mindset and how we can truly transform your life. This is kind of the dark side of that, the side where you've gone too far. So today we're going to look at what it looks like to go too far and how to bring yourself back into balance, into being a positive person and not toxic. I now will tell you a very embarrassing story of how I came across as a very toxic, happy person. I tell you this so that you can avoid this scenario. There was a terrible accident when I was going to college, and several students died in this field trip that they were on, and everyone's heart was broken and people were grieving. There was a lady that I knew that was talking about how her friend's fiance had died in this crash, how they were so perfect together and they would never be able to get married, and she was just heartbroken. I piped in and I did not think this out, and I was like, well, at least they weren't married. That would have been even harder. Yeah, wrong answer. The girl that I told this to, I don't believe she ever spoke to me again, and I do not blame her. First off, I had no reason to say anything to anyone like that. Even though in our minds they might give us something to be happy about, it is never appropriate to say something like that when someone is hurting. It shows that I had no skill of feeling those negative emotions and being able to balance my life at that time. What caused me to be so toxically happy? Oh, there's a lot of things, but I think one of the biggest things that I've noticed is I was such a people pleaser at the time that I was always trying to have something good and just be happy about whatever. And I wasn't able to see things as they really are. I wasn't able to get in touch with my sadness and my grief and my compassion the way that a healthy person would. I just immediately went to positivity, and that was toxic at that time. I'm curious, have you ever had a time where you responded inappropriately to someone else's sadness or hurt and was seen as someone toxic, and you wanted to defend yourself because you were just trying to be happy? Have you ever had that experience? Please tell me I'm not alone in being a complete jerk. Okay, maybe you're not a complete jerk, but I totally was. Please let me know. Another way this can look is if you go to the restaurant and you order something and you get something that you actually really hate, something that wasn't what you ordered and you don't like to eat, but you eat it anyway. And you're like, yeah, this is great, it's fine, I'll just eat this. That is another example of being toxically happy, not able to have feelings and express yourself and be who you are. Now, I believe the best tool for getting out of this toxic positivity is to be aware and okay with having hard feelings. Professionals have agreed that not being in touch with your emotions might be the leading cause for mental health problems, which is something I do not want to have in my life. So I want to pay attention to my feelings and be okay feeling them, even if they are negative. Some coaches even believe that half of our feelings should be difficult feelings, hard feelings, sadness, anger, all those things that we think we shouldn't ever feel. Some coaches feel that that should be half of the emotions that we feel. Now, whether or not you're in the half boat or you think it's more like 30%, the truth is, no matter what your life is, you're gonna have some grief, some sadness, some loneliness, and be able to process that hopefully will lead to your happy mental state. I'm gonna teach you one of my favorite tools for dealing with emotion so that you can start healing from being toxically happy today. For this one, you want to put yourself in a comfortable position. You want to notice your body and you want to notice the feeling that you're having. What does that feeling feel like? Now, a lot of the times we run away from our feelings, but today you're gonna think of a negative emotion that you've had recently, and we're gonna feel it. And giving yourself time to feel that negative emotion and dial into it actually makes it a lot less scary, and you will be surprised how much easier it is to let it process through. There are 3 ways to deal with emotion. One way is you run away from it. And I feel like we all know what that looks like. We run away from it, we shove it down, we ignore it, we try to pretend it doesn't exist. Another way to process negative emotion is by trying to give into it. If you're angry, you start yelling. If you're sad, you start eating. You give into the emotion. There is a third option, and this option is actually healthy, and I feel like it's not talked about enough. And this one is to let it pass. Let it be, to feel it, to allow it. Allowing your emotion doesn't mean that you're gonna act out on it. It doesn't mean that you're gonna wallow in misery forever. You're just gonna give yourself a few minutes to sit down, to feel that emotion, to think about why it's so painful, and what does it feel like in your body. I oftentimes ask my clients, is it hot? Is it cold? Is it soft? Is it hard? What does it feel like in your body? If you were explaining to an alien that has no emotions, what would you say to him that it feels like? He doesn't know what anger feels like. You can be like, oh, well, I feel kind of hot and tense, and I have a tightness in my throat. Go over all the physical aspects of that emotion and what it feels like in your body. I know it sounds funny, to say that emotion is a feeling in your body because it seems like it should be scary. Once you identify it as a feeling in your body and you start talking about what it feels like, it loses its scariness. It no longer is a big scary monster. It becomes very manageable. If I told you that I was scared and I had a tightness in my chest and my throat was burning, and then you would say, oh, is it burning like on fire? Like, do you need to go to the hospital? I'm like, no, it just feels a little bit warm. That sounds pretty pathetic, doesn't it? It sounds like, oh, so you're a little tight and your throat is warm. Big deal. As soon as you start identifying your emotions as the feelings they are in your body, they lose their scariness and there's something that you can just handle. I believe that being positive is great. Teaching your brain to have positive thought patterns and give yourself happy situations is so great. But you need that balance in your life of being able to feel the negative, being able to sit in it and be safe with it and to allow it. Please try this exercise the next time you're upset and let it be there. Let it allow it to be there. You will find instead of resisting it and bringing more and more of that emotion and feeling totally miserable, you're able just to let it pass, and then you'll be able to feel the positive emotions much better because you're no longer resisting the negatives, and you will grow balance in your life so that you can get rid of those toxically happy moments in your life and you can become a well-rounded, nice person. Okay, P.S. If you thought that you are a toxically happy person, please tell me your stories in the comments below. I don't want to be alone in this, guys. I've really put myself out today and told you some embarrassing stories. Please tell me, how have you been toxically happy person? What are some things that you're going to do to help bring balance back into your life?